guys, welcome to another episode of Geekdom Movies. This time I am going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to do a long discussion breakdown of a movie. So for doing that for the first time for my channel, brand new, never done it before. We usually keep to like 10-15 minutes with these movies. So I wanted to have a friend who's someone I know, I grew up with from IGD. We knew each other back in the good old days of being kids, running around in our communities.
At least a good 25 years ago.
Yeah. We just recently caught up again after all this time. Life gets hectic and busy, but this is my friend Mubin, and I think both of us said at one point one of our favorite movies is Good Will Hunting.
100%.
Now, I've seen it a long time ago, but I recently just watched it like a few days ago, and you just watched it this morning.
Watched it this morning, yeah.
And I was like, this is a good movie to break down some of the things that movie's trying to say. And since I'm not a professional counselor, therapist, or anything like that, and you are, how about, Mubin, you introduce yourself and what's your background is?
So, well, thank you for having me first and foremost. It's crazy how we reconnected after all these years. But so my name is Mubin Qureshi. I am a therapist. I got my master's in social work from the University of Michigan, and then I've been in the private practice field since 2019, and then in January of 2023, I opened my own solo practice. Now it's based in Royal Oak, Michigan, and I've been doing that since my wife and I were living in Boston for about 4 years. We just moved back, and that's where I'm in Royal Oak now. So,
that's awesome. Yeah. Welcome back to the good old Michigan.
It's good to be back. Yeah.
So now I know as a film critic, I could probably try to break down scenes and why they chose a certain scene, the way they filmed it and things like that. But I kind of want to get away from that for this type of podcast. I was thinking more like along the lines of, hey, here's a character that Matt Damon's character, which is named Will.
Right.
His character kind of is someone who's very smart, very intelligent, right? Like he probably, if he was born in the right circumstances, probably would have gone to Harvard and, gone through like all those things and like moved up in the ladder education-wise.
Right.
Now, even though he is extremely smart and intelligent and has the ability to break down math, science, things like that at a much higher scale, his level of how someone might behave or talk in our culture would, most people, I think, would say, not very respectable, not very like someone you would think is, capable of like going to Harvard and, going to college and being like someone who could be a professor or scientist. More like his background is construction. And I think he dropped out of high school, if I remember correctly.
Maybe he got a GED. I don't recall. I don't think they talked about his high school as much, but yeah.
And comes from a broken family, has friends that are more like his family.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ben Affleck and some other people in his lives. And he's not like, someone meets him, like a professor at Harvard, right? He's a MIT. He is a custodian, but he solves this math equation that's very difficult to do, even for people who are in MIT who are already really smart.
Right.
And the issue becomes, and we can kind of break that down, like what it says about culture, what does it say about society, what does it say about social and like classes, like middle class, lower class, rich class, things like that. Right. It talks about certain things and aspects, like this person who's coming from a very not similar background as all these MIT students and professors they're used to, but this professor is just kind of blown away his ability to do certain things, right? And wants to give him the best able to like move him up and give him the best education he could possibly have and try to help him gain that understanding, that momentum in a world that kind of shy away or looked away for a very long time.
Right.
In the process of that, he meets Robin Williams' character also, who is a therapist, counselor?
Yeah, and professor.
Psychiatrist?
No, he's a therapist. I think they never really talked about his credentials, but he's a therapist and also a professor.
Oh, okay.
So he was teaching at a community college at the time, at least in the film. Yeah. And then was also a therapist, but
Oh, okay. Yeah. And the funny thing is, before he meets Robin Williams' character, he's also just very much so like going through books of the people he's seeing that are therapists and things. He's like, I read your book, it's garbage, or like I read your book, like it didn't help me, or whatever. He's just he's being
There's a reason for that, by the way.
Okay, that'd be interesting to break down.
Yeah.
and things like that. As the movie progresses, you learn, and Robin Williams and Matt Damon's character get to know one each other as a not just their therapist and like a what is it like what would
Client.
client,
Yeah.
but that relationship actually grows
Right.
and becomes more than just a therapist and client. And it's
Right.
and yet like at the same time, he's still trying to figure out who he is, what he wants. He's getting thrown around in all these like job opportunities, right? Like he's seeing there's this really great line that I just remembered. I forgot about it until like just now, where he talks about why he doesn't want to work for the government because
Yeah.
like they're gonna take this and what I create and they're gonna go do something in the Middle East or somewhere, and
Yeah.
like there's all this like things that he's thinking about that most people would be like, that's just a job, and like I can work for that job and make
Yeah.
lots of money. But he's
Right.
like, no, I don't want to just make money and just work for a job. I want to have more than just that. Have more meaning and purpose. I guess maybe he's trying to like tell Robin Williams' character maybe. Yeah, it's I don't think I've ever seen a movie. I'm talking a lot. I swear I'm gonna let you talk, but I promise.
You're good, man.
I don't think I've ever seen a movie like Good Will Hunting, and I don't think I'll ever see a movie like it's been what, over 20 years, because it came out in the 1990s or something like that.
Yeah.
I still don't think we've seen a movie like that has really come out
Yeah.
and really resonated and actually has more to say about society and culture and social norms today than it did in the 90s.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't think and this is obviously outside my expertise, but I feel like if you were to make Good Will Hunting today, it wouldn't be made into a movie. It would be like a Netflix series.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Instead of
yeah.
having like, it would be like a 10-part series.
Like a miniseries.
A miniseries or
season,
something
yeah.
like that. I don't think it would have the blockbuster appeal. I don't think people would go see it in the theaters. I think people would wait for it to come out. I'm sorry, a movie on demand, and then see it from there, and then go
Yeah.
from that. So I think I definitely think it would be like a Netflix series.
Yeah,
type
no,
of
that
thing.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just feel, having, and one of the things I want to do also is just break these movies down that a lot of us some of us we're a lot older than probably some of the people watching this on TikTok and things like that. Like there's these movies that were really very important to everyday society and culture at the time, but then kind of over time have been forgotten about, and things like that. So I feel like let's kind of dig deep into some of the things the movie brings up. So character and story, that was my first section I wrote down on my laptop. And did any of these questions, I know you took a chance to look over it, did anything stick out to you that you were like, that's really worth like maybe talking about?
Why don't we just shoot off the questions and we can just go from there?
Okay. So what makes Will Hunting such a compelling character despite his flaws? I brought that up a little bit about like the things in the movie.
So I was talking to Fahad before we did the podcast, and I was talking to him like, I've always watched the movie as like a form of like entertainment, but now I'm actually watching it as like a therapist and observing things and whatnot. And it's really interesting because like you never realize Will until that bar scene where he puts that guy in this place who as he's trying to embarrass Ben Affleck's character, Rusty, I think is his name, and you just see his genius come out through. But one of the things you see, even in that fight scene that happens shortly after that, is that one, there's like a loyalty with the four of them, but it's also like his safe place out of everything that he's been through. So he fights for the ones that he loves, although he doesn't let a lot of people in. But those he lets in are the ones that he will fight for, like to the death.
Yeah, that I remember. Isn't that also the scene? It's like, how about them apples?
Yeah, you like apples? I got her number. How do you like them apples? Yeah.
Still one of the best lines.
Love it
in any movie.
Love it.
I agree. It's like they have this close bond with the people that he's grown up with.
Right.
And he sees more of that as a family than his own family.
Right.
How about, do you think Will is more afraid of failure or success, and how does the film explore these tensions?
So we were talking about like when I was like, oh, there's more to it for him reading the books of the therapist and stuff. I think he's been through my perspective, from a therapy perspective, he's been through so much trauma, he wants control.
Right.
So he will do whatever he can do to get one up on the person he's talking to. So if you look at the first two scenes, the first therapist, he accuses him of being gay, making a move on him. The second therapist, he was doing a hypnotherapy, and he was just...
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was doing like some crazy, like he was just mocking him. And then even in the first scene with Robin Williams, with Sean, he provoked him by saying his wife left him. And so what he's doing is that he's trying to get one up on the person so that they can't get into him or attack him or make him feel less than. So that's why I feel like that was really interesting, if that you noticed that throughout, even with Skylar, the love interest that he had, like he created this life that he had with, oh, I have 13 brothers.
Yeah.
But he never had any brothers. He was an orphan, right? So like it's just creating like this thing where he has this narrative over other people, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't even pick that up, but I always wondered what he was trying to do. Maybe assumed he was just trying to say that he's just better than them and he doesn't need them, like he doesn't, you know. But that's a much interesting breakdown that you mentioned. Like he doesn't want to let them in so they can do something that could be, like you said, one up. Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So for the next question, how did Will and Sean, Robin Williams' character, balance each other as characters?
Yeah, it's like, so one of the things that Sean was able to do that the other, obviously, therapists that weren't able to, again, this is all fiction-related movie. Therapy wouldn't happen in a lot of the ways that it happened in this movie, obviously. I would never, like, choke my client and throw him against the wall or anything.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, you never say never, but I'm totally joking. Sean provided that safe space for Will to talk.
Right.
And I think Will was here and Sean was here, and he allowed Will to come down to his level. And then when he came down to his level, he was able to figure out what the next stages of his life should be, what he should or shouldn't do. Should he take the job? Should he not take the job? And then he ultimately, obviously, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, that's on you. He goes to see his girl.
It's been out for 30 years. You guys should check it out.
One of my favorite movies. But like he goes and he ultimately decides to go and see to go to Stanford to be with his girlfriend. So like Robin gave him, or Sean, I should say, gave him that space to figure it out. And I think that was what was compelling. But then on the flip side, Will challenged Sean a lot too. Because there was a scene where he was talking about, in one of the therapy scenes, like Sean was like talking about, like Will was like, oh, I have this girl, she's perfect, I can't be with anyone. And then he's like, well, you never really realize until you put your chips out, your cards on the table. And he's like, well, what about you? He's like, my wife is dead. He's like, well, you're not really challenging yourself. And then like, so it's like some of that. So there was that interplay between the two of them that was really interesting throughout the movie.
Yeah, I remember just thinking that maybe he thinks he's not good enough or something, like because of his background and where she's coming from, which is, she's an MIT or Harvard or something?
So Harvard. She was at Harvard.
Okay, gotcha.
I kind of wore this, pun intended, but it was fun.
I was wondering.
But no, she. I lived in Boston for 4 years. That's why. But anyways, yeah, she was studying at Harvard, and then she was going to Stanford for med school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. What moment of vulnerability from Will hit you the hardest, and why? Now I have an answer for this, but I want to hear yours.
You do? Oh, I mean, it's the iconic scene. It's not your fault. That scene is just like, that gets me every time. Like even thinking about it now, like what stood out to me when I watched it this time was that after Sean finally connected him, do you remember what he said? Will said afterwards, after he hugged him and started crying, he said, "I'm so sorry." I'm so sorry. And like that means like he blamed himself for so much of the stuff that he's gone through. Yeah. That in that moment he was finally able to release it. Yeah. And Sean, and again, Sean giving that space and as a character, as a therapist, was able to give it to him in that moment.
I honestly think that scene alone is the reason Robin Williams won that Oscar.
Oh, 100%.
Like, there's no way. Like, and I remember just reading like they were just like, oh my God, the scene is coming while they were filming it, and they were like, they felt so much anxiety and like just like Matt Damon said, like it was just. But Robin Williams, he was like, it's okay. We can just let the moment happen, and let's just not try to artificially make the scene. Let's see, we know the gist of what we're trying to say, but let's not try to do it like where we're reading words off a script. But really just dig deep and let's do the scene last of what those characters and how they've evolved and grown. Because a lot of the times, and this is something I'm really fascinated by, is like, you'll have a character or words on paper, but then when it comes to filming, a lot of the times it becomes something else entirely. And it just doesn't, you can have the best plan when it comes to writing a script or producing a movie or directing a movie or being an actor, but when you're in that scene and you're like, you have to question, sometimes you have to say, it's a good script. These are great words.
Right.
But I don't think we're conveying, or it doesn't seem like this is really working. And a best director, the best filmmakers, best actors can hone in on that. And I remember Robert De Niro talking about A Few Good Men. That scene in Have you seen A Few Good Men? So there's a scene where Tom Cruise is like, where Tom Cruise is just like berating him. It's like, tell me the truth.
I want the truth.
And like that entire scene, you can't handle the truth. And he goes into that long explanation of his character, but that's off the cuff. That's not a script that with words, what they had and what was actually filmed. But Robert De Niro, not Robert De Niro. What did I say? No. Jack Nicholson.
Oh my God! Wow.
I know. I just realized.
You gotta edit that out.
Oh, as a film pundit and reviewer, that's really embarrassing.
I can be excused. I'm not.
The thing that Jack Nicholson does in that scene is, and he did this in Departed a lot too. That scene where Leonardo DiCaprio talks about, like, have you seen The Departed?
Yeah, of course.
There's that famous scene where there's rats in my organization. He's like, and he's making all these, like, and Leonardo DiCaprio's like, I don't know what Jack Nicholson is exactly doing in this scene, but I'm just gonna roll with it, right? And that's I think what makes a great actor. And Robin Williams really became one of the best actors. Like, we knew him from like Aladdin and Mrs. Doubtfire and all these comedies and things like that. And suddenly it was like, wait, whoa, Robin Williams is not just a comedian or a comic actor. Yeah. Jim Carrey did that too, by the way. And a lot of people say this in Hollywood, to be a great comedian actor is to be a great actor first, because comedy is way harder than a dramatic scene. And I always thought that was interesting. Anyway, sorry, I went on a little bit of a
So why did that scene stand out to you? You feel like
that's the reason, filmmaking purposes, right? Like, because you're seeing it from a very emotional, like you said, when you're watching that scene, you're in those characters, and I'm thinking from a very filmmaker, like actor's point of view, where like how they're able to bring that out. Because like Matt Damon needed Robin Williams, especially because Matt Damon hasn't. That was like his first big role. Like, he's been in little things here and there, but he was never really the big actor we know today, right? And then Robin Williams was able to bring that out of him as somebody shepherding as an actor.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've done like deep dives on this movie, and there was a scene where Robin Williams talks about like how his wife farted in her sleep, right?
Right.
Apparently that was improvised. And when Will starts laughing, that's all genuine.
Oh my goodness.
So like it's funny that you say that, like how they can take something and make it completely different and make it much more powerful and impactful in the film. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It absolutely blew me away.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, and I was 1997 when I saw 98, so I was still like in middle school, I think. I remember just thinking there's something different about this scene that's resonating as someone who was very young age, like into film and film. Like just being a lover of film, it was like, wow, here's something that's really standing out. It's not your boom boom bang bang like action movie or comedy. Something else is happening here that even as someone that's as young as in middle school, I could feel that power in that scene, right? So we're gonna go to the next section of some of the questions I had, Ryan. Themes and philosophy. I think this could be interesting. So, how does the film tackle the idea of intelligence versus wisdom?
So Will is a genius, but does he have wisdom? Right? And like one of my supervisors in grad school, she taught me, like, she gave me this definition of knowledge, and it stuck with me, and I use it in sessions all the time. Like, so if I were to ask you, how would you define knowledge? What would you say? I'm not looking for a specific answer. I'm just curious to hear.
Knowledge comes. I mean, there's also knowledge that comes from like reading books or reading scripture, or reading scrolls from like ancient philosophers and things like that. But I think it really comes from living through those moments where you have the knowledge isn't just something on paper. Knowledge comes also from experience. I would say.
So what I tell my clients is that, and I didn't come up with this, my supervisor did, so I don't want to take credit for it, but I now do on purpose what I used to do on accident.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. So like if you look at Will's character, he's doing all these things, and there's so much trauma that he has been through, that he's built up these walls that never allows anyone to truly get in. So I don't know if he's doing that consciously or subconsciously. I mean, obviously we can never find out.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, he's doing it as a defense mechanism. So when you
Right.
do things as a defense mechanism, you're not really sure or aware of why it's happening. So
Okay.
he has intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
but does he have that wisdom that and then as this movie carries on, he develops that wisdom.
Right.
But he doesn't have that necessarily in the beginning or in the middle of the film.
Yeah, it's like he's now having different experiences with the knowledge he once had,
Yeah.
and that information, even though it got him through some things, he's never been put in a position like this where he's actually learning some new aspects of who he is, who he wants to be.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I think like the ending works so well.
Yeah.
Where he's like, yeah, I could go work that job, but I'm gonna get in my car and go find the person I want to spend the rest of my life. That seems way more important than this.
I also wonder if that car. I wonder if that car can make that drive. But that's a different discussion.
She might have picked it at a bus stop after like about halfway, right? You never know. Yeah. I find that really shocking and fascinating that even though this professor is trying really hard to get him a job, Robin Williams' character is trying really hard to save his life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying everything he can to acknowledge some of the things that hasn't been not fixed. That's a bad word. There's a better word than fixed, but he's trying to
heal him. Help
heal
him.
him. Thank you. Yes. That's good.
Yeah.
He's trying to heal him in a way that gets him to a place where he's mature, not mature, but
capable. I would say
capable,
capable.
Yeah. And what that could look like in his future, because that's the argument Robin Williams and the professor, they're friends too from college, have in that scene. And and it also reminds me of that scene where Robin Williams is like, you think you know love, but you don't know love. You don't know, and like Robin Williams does this
in the park, yes.
Like that amazing, beautiful talk, like what it means to this, like he breaks down what heartache and love really is.
Right.
You can read it in a book, like and understand love from a very like practical way, like what happens to your emotions or feelings or whatever, but to experience love in such a deep way is another thing entirely. And one of the things I like about Matt Damon's character also in that scene is like he's actually intently listening. He actually is trying to understand and not cut him off or belittle him or just make fun of him or anything. He's genuinely like, oh, this guy actually has something to offer that I haven't thought about.
Well, like he's also like he's not a threat in that moment. So he in that scene he has a way to disarm Will's character and make him listen. Like I thought about what you said.
Yeah.
Stayed up half the night thinking about it. Then I realized something and I fell asleep in a blissful sleep and I haven't thought about you since. So it's also like realizing like, yeah, you hit me, but like you're not harming me.
Yeah.
So you're not in control anymore in a way.
Right.
And then that's what allows him to go into that.
Yeah.
And allows like Bill's like, oh shoot, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Right.
And and again, this is all interpretive. But yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Here's a good one. What does the film say about social class and opportunity in America today? So this came out 30 years ago,
Yeah.
close to it, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I won't speak too much. I'll let you because that's more your expertise. But like.
Oh no, please.
I would say it's interesting. Like the only way to get out of South Boston was to be a genius.
Okay.
So like I also feel like that it's like.
So what do you mean by South Boston? Break down some of us who are not.
Yeah. So South Boston in the film is like really in the the
like
sketchy areas.
Okay.
People can't you're born into it. It's very hard to get out of.
Okay.
So it's like generational poverty type of a thing.
Right.
So if you notice that anytime he goes to anywhere like Cambridge or downtown, like he's always on that train. He's taking a long train ride to get there.
Right.
So it's away from all of that, even though Boston's a small city. But it I found that interesting, but also like how harmful or ineffective like our foster care system is, and that he was in these constant abusive families and stuff, right? That's what stood out to me.
You would think in today's society, and two of my friends one had gone through it, one is going through it right now. I mean, you're almost putting down a mortgage to just go and like adopt a child today. Like I think the number was like, and this is Chicago, so it might be different in Illinois compared to like Michigan and other places. But he was explaining to me that we're at $30,000 right now just trying to adopt a child.
That's crazy.
And that's just blows my mind. Like, you have children who could potentially find a good home, but because you're putting so much, and maybe there's a good reason for it. I don't know. I'm not in the system. I don't
Right.
fully grasp it, but I think we can all agree, $30K just so you can take care of a child out of the goodness of your own
Right.
heart. Like something just doesn't sound right,
Right.
even
Right.
today, like
Right.
of what that looks like. So I don't know. Do you think the film argues that love is the most powerful force for change? That's an interesting question. Wow.
Love. I don't, love it's a beautiful emotion.
Mm-hmm.
But like love doesn't solve everything. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
it's like what I would say is healing and being balanced is the power of change and not love. Like yes, he loved Skylar,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't enough to get him to move to Stanford with her. Sorry, my watch keeps sitting at the table. But
Oh,
it
you're
wasn't
fine.
enough. It wasn't enough to get Skylar to move with him to Stanford. So
Yeah.
so love is powerful, but unless you are balanced and healed in general, like I feel like it'd be very difficult for you to even realize that you're good enough to accept that love.
Right. So maybe what you're trying to say is before you can give or accept love, maybe you have to go through the healing of some of the things that you're carrying because you might be, and I see this a lot today, especially on social media, because social media has this
Yeah.
like effect on people where, because you're behind a keyboard or a phone, you're not directly talking to somebody.
Mm.
So you can say some of the most I've seen, in my opinion, like some of the most heinous, horrible things
Right.
that people say because of politics or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like but it's like when I see those comments, I'm like, man, what is going on like inside of this person where they need to broadcast in such a way
Right.
on a platform. Yeah, they feel maybe invisible in some ways, so maybe, but it's like there's like this deep thing. Like when I run into that a lot, I wasn't always good at this, but now when I run into people who want to argue and fight, I'm just like, you know what, man, like
Do you?
you do you.
Yeah.
If you want to bully, be a jerk online or whatever, be a racist, be a sexist, whatever you're trying to do, like I'm not here for that, but I hope you get the help you need, because it's
Right.
obvious. Honestly, it just sounds like you have some serious trauma you need to like
Right.
get through, and that probably pisses them off more than me just fighting back sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do feel like because I wonder a lot. Like I come from a very loving, stable family, right? Like I grew up in a very if you live in Michigan, Oakland County is considered one of the rich, well, especially in the 90s and
Yeah.
early 2000s when we grew up, Oakland County in Michigan was like the second richest county in all of America. So I was very blessed to have a very loving family. Things were obviously given to me in a way that I didn't even realize, like
Yeah.
what my family was sacrificing or working to give me and my sister, right? Some of us, we don't realize it in the moment when we're growing up. And when I look reflected on it, I'll talk to some friends and
Yeah.
like, some of, as I went to college and met my wife, it's like, yeah, that would be considered rich
Right.
compared to us. And how,
Right.
like, rich,
Right.
we're not rich. It's like you and your sister had your own car. You didn't pay for gas. Your college was paid for. Like what? Like that is, for some people, that's like mind-boggling. And I had to think about societal norms in such a way that and I don't think that's a lot of like people's fault. I think experience comes a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because I think I can speak for you and me. Like we grew up in a pretty
Yeah, comfortable.
loving,
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
societal norms that are better than maybe what majority of the people did not feel or
Right.
experience.
Yeah, it's interesting with like when we talk about love, right? Like let's say like in Will's case, like let's say if you grow up in a situation where you're in trauma, when you're not in a stable household or whatever, and you have two partners that come present yourself.
Okay.
Partner A is Skylar. She is educated, she's smart, she's loving, she's accepting of who he is.
Yeah.
And you have partner B, who is someone maybe from South Boston who is extremely toxic, emotionally abusive, etc.
Yeah.
Will, without healing, will gravitate towards the second character, the second love interest,
Yeah.
because that's what he thinks he's willing or good enough to receive,
Yeah.
and what he's familiar with.
Right.
Rather than when you have someone who has Skylar's like, I don't care what you do, although again that's Hollywood.
Right.
Like if you're going to Stanford Medical School, it does matter if your husband's. I'm just saying, but I'm just joking. But like Will wasn't able to comprehend what that is because he's
Right.
never had it.
Mm.
So that's why he, like, when she's like, come to Stanford with me, he's like, well, what happens if you don't like, if you find out something about me and you don't like it and then you just want to leave? Like, he has that, like,
That fear.
yeah, it doesn't even comprehend that, like, hey, this could actually work out.
Mm.
And then rather than accept that and embrace it,
Where is Stanford, by the way?
it's in Palo Alto, so it's like San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, San Francisco. So like in the Bay, but like, so it's just yeah, it's just tough for him in that moment to accept it. So that's why he flipped the switch and became a completely different person in that scene,
Oh, that's right. He had kind of like lashed out in some ways.
and became somewhat abusive in a way too, right? By hitting the wall, pushing her
Mm.
against the wall, hitting it, and stuff like that
Yeah.
again. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and she just kept saying "I love you," like
yeah,
crying and
yeah,
saying like,
yeah.
"What's like I'm not doing anything," and he couldn't just get out of his own head, maybe, and
Yeah, because
that's
that's
yeah.
the subconscious overpowering the conscious. That's his
Mm.
trauma overpowering his ability to perceive what the reality is. So then he, rather than embracing and being present in the moment, he is in fight or flight response.
Right. Yeah. Wow. No, that's deep. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Yeah.
That definitely changes a lot of things that I've never thought about watching the movie, but it puts a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
So we talked about this earlier, so we may skip this too. It's not your fault. The
Yeah.
iconic scene. Why is that scene so powerful, and why do you think it has become a cultural touchstone? Did we talk about this?
I mean, we talked a bit about it, but
Okay.
like, if you look at, like, again, his approach from a therapeutics perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it was so warming. Like, if you know, like, it's not your fault. Like, he's talking very gently. He's soft. He's not saying it's not your fault. It's more of like, it's not your fault. Like, he's trying to give Will that space to hear it without feeling attacked.
Mm-hmm.
So because Will is so in such a belief that all of the trauma that he's been through, the only commonality has been him. So when you're in a victim, when you are a victim of trauma or live in trauma, children are unable to perceive the other aspects of life. Like, hey, I was born into an unhealthy family where my parents are drug addicts or abusive.
Yeah.
So but they think, so they try to solve it.
Yeah.
So Will believes that he's the source of all of the issues that he's had.
He's the one who's caused the issues,
Yes.
not he's the victim.
Well, he is a victim, but he's also the cause of it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, he might believe, like, yeah, I was treated unfairly,
Mm-hmm.
but he believes that if he was good enough, he wouldn't have been treated poorly in a way. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's see, again, these are things that I would never think about growing up. You know what I mean? That's very, very. I mean, maybe there's a part of us that's like, you know, they say everybody has that person like who can jeopardize or like inside of us that could ruin, cause a divorce or, you know, ruin their career because of like not a victim mindset, but it's like sabotage mindset,
Self-sabotage.
self-sabotage. Yeah. And when I remember even reading about that back in college, being like, there's a word for that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you know how many times maybe I didn't think I was good enough to pursue some sort of career. I was too scared to, like, because, you know, we talked about a little bit about this, but you know, I was like, well, my parents really want me to go to nursing school and do that, but my passion is filmmaking. So, but did I, you know, there's a part of me that's like, did I mess up? You know what I'm saying? Like, did I choose the wrong path out of fear or like parent pleasing or people pleasing in a way?
100%.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when you look at like am I fearful, like even Will's response to that is like, I'm fine, it's okay, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then he's like, not you, Sean. Don't F with me.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is he pushes him away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Sean even he puts his hand on him. He's like, it's not. And that's when Will finally
breaks down
and accepts it.
Yeah.
That all of the stuff that he's been through wasn't his fault.
Right.
And but yeah, that's why for me, like, I could watch that scene. Like, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Well, occasionally I'll watch it on YouTube because the YouTube clips or whatever. But I'll watch that scene. And when I even had a client send it to me once, which was really powerful for me.
Oh,
it was a cool moment for me.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's stuff like that stands out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it might. Honestly, I think it's one of the scenes that I would put in my top 10 greatest scenes ever filmed.
Interesting.
You know,
I would want to hear that top 10 one day, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about we again something else we touched on. Sean's park bench monologue. What makes it so impactful, and could it work in a different film? I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think there's a script or a movie or that exists that has ever, and to this day, I think it's too scary for Hollywood. It's too real and raw. I'm trying to think of a movie that was like that, that did the same impact, and I just can't think of
That's so interesting.
another.
Yeah.
Now, you can say, like we talked about, A Few Good Men, there's that court scene. But again, the whole movie is it's not, there's so much deep, impactful meaning on societal norms, culture norms. We talked about class system, and there's just so much in that movie that is so scary for Americans, Westerners.
Vulnerability?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like I sometimes, and I did this too. I was very closed off emotionally growing up for the reason that when we went to school and we grew up, we knew that acting out or being emotional or opening up too much is considered a big no-no.
Right.
In our culture, in society. And maybe that's not just an American thing. I don't want to, but my experience is growing up in America. So from my experience, I just feel like that vulnerability, that ability to, I talked about something. It's like I don't make friends anymore, or I don't connect with people if they don't. Not that I can't. Obviously, I can, but I don't connect with people who can't be real anymore. Not because I'm judging them, but I'm like, I have limited space, I have limited time in the scope of what I want, and one of the things I want is genuine connections.
There's authenticity in that,
yes.
in this film, that it's really rare to see.
Right.
Completely different genre, but there's a movie called Creed. It was a sequel to, it was like, Ryan Coogler did it, and that's another film that I felt like was authentic. And like in that, but getting back to Good Will Hunting, I just feel like that scene was just so like it just like jumps out at you, and just like it has an impact. And I think that's why, because you can watch the film and pick up something new every single time. And I do that even now to this day. Like I watch that movie probably once a year, to be honest with you. And Good Will Hunting, that is. And then it's just like, it's so powerful in the way that like you have this guy who's acting out, and you said it, he was just quiet and he was listening to every word.
That was the first connection.
Yeah,
he was like, oh, something's different here.
That's why that scene's just so great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, what else we got? Well, we answered this, but what line from the movie has stuck with you the most? Mine is the funny one, actually. Not that every line, there are many, many great lines, but the ones like, how about them apples? Or I really enjoy the beginning of the scene where like when he puts the math equation and he asks somebody to stand up and take credit for solving it, and nobody stands up, and he's like, and the professor's just confused. like,
yeah,
what? Like, what do you? Who did this? And he again assumed it had to be one of the students, because only his students could do something like that. And it's just such a statement of like taking social norms and flipping them on its side. Anyways, what about
favorite lines?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we talked about this before. Can I cuss on this?
Probably not.
Son of a bee stole my line.
Yeah. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
At the end.
So that line is
iconic.
That's so iconic, and but it's just like it can be so serious, but yet so lighthearted in like one moment, and then the next moment's. I'm sorry, it can be so serious one moment and be lighthearted in the next. Yeah.
Oh, that actually reminds me, the scene where he's talking about the baseball game where they all have tickets.
Yes.
I was like, do you
Carlton
remember?
Fisk.
And Matt Damon, his character's like, oh my gosh, and he hit it. I think it was like home run.
Yeah.
You were there. It's like, nope. I
was having a drink with my future wife.
Yeah, there's like guys, and they knew, and like his friends understood. It's like, I gotta go see about this.
I gotta go see about a girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they understood, like, whoa, okay, like this is real.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is something, and for Robin Williams, even though that could have been the greatest baseball game, that's still his best moment, finding his wife and finding that connection, right? So
that whole scene was about regret. Yeah, a lot of good things from that.
Yeah. All right, impact and legacy. This is the one I'm excited about.
All right, let's do it.
Because I feel like I'm gonna jump around a lot with like film stuff, I guess. How did Good Will Hunting shape careers for Damon, Affleck, and Gus
I'm not answering any of
Van
these.
Sant. Well, for Damon and Affleck especially, they became A-list movie stars overnight, right? Like
100%.
first big movie, they wrote it, co-wrote it, and then obviously Ben Affleck's not in a lot of it, but he did write it with Matt Damon, and they won that best screenplay at the Oscars that night. And actually, so here's a question. I'm a film critic. I study film a lot. What has Gus Van Sant has done since Good Will Hunting?
I mean, we were talking about this before.
Yeah.
Before the podcast, Finding Forrester is another one of his movies that he did. But after that, he had
Did he drop?
I think they tried to do other feel-good movies, but none of them
really
worked.
Okay.
But I haven't really heard of much. Yeah, Finding Forrester. I love another. It's not as popular as obviously as Good Will Hunting, but it's still a really good movie. I feel like. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
I might have to check that one out. But yeah, I think for Damon and Affleck, they became like the poster Hollywood, at the time for like young men, up and coming men in Hollywood who can become movie stars like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and George Clooney and things like that. They really blew up after that.
Yeah.
So they're, you can name 100 movies with both of them if you wanted to. Why do you think the film is still quoted and discussed more than 25 years later? I mean, nothing like it. I'm being completely honest. I haven't seen a movie like or since that movie came out.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think this is about time. Some of the things that's happening in our society, maybe it's time for another discussion, another movie talking about some of the things. I think it would be a good time to go back and have another movie do something different. Obviously, don't just repeat it, but do something else that really speaks about what young men or women need today and what that could look like in today's society.
What do you feel like Good Will Hunting showed that people need, like Will and Sean, like those characters? What do you feel like it showed that they needed?
It showed for a lot of, I think, and Good Will Hunting does come up a lot in film circles, and a lot of people, I think, they just feel like, wow, here's a movie where somebody is so broken, vulnerable, they can find love, they can heal, they can, not just because they're brilliant, but because, no matter what they felt, no matter what trauma there is always help now that you can find. And and I think that's one of the things that's the most beautiful things about that movie, is that men for a long time could not feel like, we were told, not by my parents, but parents in general at the time, it's wrong to open up, it's wrong to show them, you have to be a man, you have to be tough, you have to be, you can't, only girls are allowed to cry and be vulnerable and get sad or things like that. I think that movie changed. No, we're all human. It's not just men or women. We're all human. That's it. And sometimes people just need help, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, how many times have I heard a friend today in the last 5 years say I think I need counseling, I need therapy, I need to talk to somebody. That was never said. Even 10 years ago, that was still very rare.
That's absolutely fair.
Especially men or young men, not like before. Have you ever seen? It's not a great movie, but it reminded me of. Have you ever seen Lethal Weapon 4 with Mel?
Yes. I'm too old for this. No, I can't.
But do you remember that scene in the beginning of Lethal Weapon 4 where Mel Gibson's character is supposed to see a police counselor or something, and he's just being it was jokey, oh, I'm a cop, I don't need to see it, and he made fun of the counselor, made him feel bad, like the shrink or whatever.
Yeah.
That mindset was for a long time in those settings was, if you went to see a counselor, if you went to seek help, something is wrong with you, which there is something wrong with you, but the way they talked about it,
you're weak.
I think a lot of men for a long time felt they had to hide, or they didn't feel like they would have friends or find a wife or girlfriend, just because if they opened up or said too much or did too much, it would take away from.
I never thought about that from the film perspective of how it changed culture, or about how men talking about their emotions. That's a really interesting take. 100%.
Yeah. Do you think Good Will Hunting could be made today and have the same impact? You touched on this earlier. You said because of how movies are made today, it would probably be a Netflix miniseries or
Yeah.
made for TV movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have the same impact where you would go. Another good movie that reminds me of that is A Beautiful Mind. I don't know if you've seen that.
Mm.
I don't think movies like that really stand a chance today in the theatrical run. I don't think many people, and I think this too, and I'm part of the problem, and I'm a film critic, and I think about, and I think this sometimes too. No, I'm just gonna wait to see movies in theaters that are like made for like Superman, Avengers, like a big blockbuster that are made for like the big,
Yeah, for the screen.
you know,
Yeah.
for epic like screen, and like these small movies, I can just wait to watch at home. I think that's one way we've changed. And I think there's some really good movies that are still worth watching in theaters that are not made for. One of my, have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
Like the old one? Like
No. There's the Scarlett Johansson one.
No, I did not know.
Okay, yeah, this one.
Oh no, never saw it.
So
No.
watch this movie when you get a chance. It's about a boy who has an imaginary friend as Hitler, and it's as crazy as you think it could be. But the movie deals with young men growing up in society that taught that, hey, going to war and becoming this kind of person is a good thing. And it actually does. It's also done in a comedic way, but it's also done. Actually, you know what? I think Jojo Rabbit is today's. It's completely different. But if I had to pick another movie that worked like Good Will Hunting, that talked about young boys or young men dealing with something, that's another movie that I think qualifies to being just as good, but saying something completely different. Fitting in is that, you know, a lot of the times Jojo is just trying to copy what the other boys in the Hitler camp are doing.
Interesting.
And like how they're reacting and how they're seeing the world from, you know, like, and how he grows to understand that I might question some of these things and what that looks like for a child to go through that without getting help from, you know, society in that time too. It's a very powerful movie, and I think it works today in a lot of ways too, because we hear stories, and not to go too dark, but we do hear stories of school shootings, and we hear stories of just the anger in young men today. That's kind of, you know, I'm always like, I'm always questioning, like, where is this anger? Where is this, where they feel so hurt and they are just so angry that the only way they can lash out is doing something really violent with their classmates or teachers or things like that. I'm like, what's causing that, and where is that help even coming? Because I don't think it is in a lot of ways. I think we still have a long way to go before we address some of these really deeper issues, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a whole different discussion, but like, I feel like when it comes to where the state of mental health is nowadays, is it better? Yes. Is it where it needs to be? Absolutely not. I think COVID, I think AI also has an impact on that. I think that people through COVID and afterwards, and even the geopolitical climate, like, become more ingrained with people who think like themselves. And rather than engage in healthy dialogue with people from other, like, differing opinions, they're only becoming more isolated and extreme in their own viewpoints. And then as a result of that, like, I'm not going to talk to someone about a therapist. Like, why would a therapist talk to me? They're just going to say I'm crazy, or like they're a liberal, or they're a Republican, or whatever it may be. And it's just like, it's not going to help. So
and a lot of them also seeking like voices that want to blame, I've noticed anyway, blame women, blame society, and like, you are owed something. Entitlement, right? And it's like, it's crushing our society, you know. My mind would never say, like, I never once growing up in the way we grew up, I would never like talk down to anybody, especially someone like my parents were like, you know, remember, you have to be more cordial and nice to women and girls, and how you talk to them and things like that. You have to, but like, it's like all that stuff has just kind of, just overnight, it feels like, disappeared in our society. And it's like what's going on in families and like culture today that's causing this. It's so we're so angry, we're so divided today. I think it's and the reason I bring this up is because when the professor says in the movie, when the professor is talking to Robin Williams, who's like trying to shove all these job opportunities and like, it's like he turned this down job, he wouldn't meet with this person. It's like you and Robin Williams makes this huge like point to say, if you don't give him like the thing he needs right now to heal, then he can. And at the time it was big, so he can become the Oklahoma bomber. Like
yeah.
he can become a terrorist. He'll go do something that is really gonna hurt him and others. You can't just keep thinking about that stuff. And I thought that was really, even today, that seems like it's asking a lot or unheard of. 30 years later,
Yeah, it's like meeting the person where they're at.
Yeah.
Where in that case, like Will's character was not anywhere in the position to make a major life decision, and that's what Sean saw. And he was when he was having the argument with the professor was like, no, we just need to push him, and Sean's like, no, he needs. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier: heal. And then you can figure out what he wants to do next.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's end on a happy note. I feel like,
because
I got a little. Sorry, I get excited and I just go in all kinds of weird directions. What can somebody do today to reach out to young men? And I'm asking you because your profession is, of course, like young boys or men. What would be something that could help a lot in today's society and families?
I mean, like, so what research has shown is that, like, if I grow up even in a traumatic household or where both of my parents are neglectful, if I have one consistent adult figure in my life, the chances of that child surviving is dramatically increased. So like, I feel like for those of us are like who can be in the older figure role, don't ever underestimate the impact you can have on someone younger, right? That would be the first thing. The second thing is, like, if you're in a position to talk and you have the means to do so and you need therapy and if you feel off, obviously therapy is always an option. It's not like it's not going to fix anything. It's going to give you the tools that you need to make, it's going to give you the tools that you need to figure out life, basically, right? Like, if a client asks me, like, tell me what to do, I'm like, I'm never going to tell you what to do, because like I want to build you to a point where you don't need me anymore. So if I'm telling you what to do, you're going to constantly rely on me. So it's again meeting I'm serving a need that my client requires at that time, but I'm going to help guide them towards what they need to do, but I'm not going to ever tell them directly tell them what to do.
Speaking of that, let's say somebody or a family member or someone that's young who doesn't have the means to pay for something like therapy or counseling. Is there any programs that you can join?
I mean, within Michigan, you're talking about within Michigan, or you want to?
Or just in general?
I mean, like, so obviously there's community health centers that,
really?
There's some within various areas in Michigan. Some universities offer free counseling with their like grad programs. Part of their internship is that they accept walk-ins. So I would call them.
Really?
Yeah, like Oakland University, for example, in Oakland County here, does that. There's also various like nonprofits that are paid, that give funding to provide services to the people who are on, like, who can't have, who don't. Let me repeat that. There are nonprofits who provide who get grants to provide assistance for people who need therapy, who need mental health, who need food services, stuff like that. So and there's plenty of organizing. It's just a matter of if you can have the means to get to that or do it and whatnot.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good information, actually, because I've never thought about that actually until now.
and it's not a shot. It was like, it shows you how privileged people can be. Like, we are, in the sense that we don't realize that, like, there are people who never had that access to those types of things, and how fortunate we are that we have the ability to do those things, right? So
that's incredible. I forgot to mention it, so I'm gonna do it now. Tell us about how can people find you if they're watching this and they're like, I think I want to talk to that guy, like, directly. Because don't talk to me. I don't know nothing.
Well,
But.
I'm on all my, so I'm on Instagram and TikTok. MQ Therapy is how you can find, that's my handle for both. So you can find me that way. We can, if you want to look me up, you can just find my Psychology Today profile. It's Mubin Qureshi. Just type my name, MUBEENQURESHI, and then Psychology Today, and that'll show you the link to my Psychology Today profile, and it can give you the means to access me. My contact information, like my email, my phone number, and
all
stuff.
that good stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
And well, that's a really good place to stop. I feel like I'm also just gonna. I know we're just recording right now, but I'll leave links to all
I
of
appreciate it.
Mubin's ways to contact him, and I'll have you send that to me before I post it. And again, I thank you so much, man. It was a long podcast. I've never had to do a long sit down before, but I really appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate it.
Being my first guest.
Honored, totally honored. No, it's crazy because like I said, we haven't talked in a while, so it's just like even nice to have, like, we've met a couple of times up before, and just like it's nice to have that bond that we can still connect and have such a nice conversation after all this time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
I thank you, and
you.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, man.
man.
I will catch you soon. Hopefully, we'll talk some more about music sometime down the road again.
Okay,
Who knows?
sounds good.
All right. All right, guys. All the links are below if you want to find it, and if you want to personally reach out to me in case, for whatever reason, I can also give you a direct contact to my good friend Mubin. All right, take care, guys. See you in the next review. Geek the Movies out.